everybody, and welcome to episode 23 of the Lost City of Vedranis. So good to see you. Justin said some naughty things and made me laugh. Hope you've all been doing well. Never. They never do this to me. Never. They say how much they love me and care about me and think I'm a great DM.
Cool. I like you a lot.
But hope you've all been doing well. It's been a couple weeks. Let's go around and see what the crew has been up to. Justin, I'm just going to put you on the pedestal. Not the pedestal. I'm going to put you on,
put
on
me
the
on
stage.
a pedestal. That's fine.
No,
I crave it.
Will. How have you been?
I need attention. Oh, good. I'm doing really well. Has it only been 2 weeks? I mean, really? It feels like so much longer than that.
It does.
I'm Doc Rimbo. I'm he, they. I'm happy to be here. I love this campaign. I've been looking forward to this all day. And I play Marcoris Deg, the Eberonian planeswalker warlock of the Undying. And also, I played Jiraxius, Devourer of Hope, a 1 foot tall demon imp, devil imp. And I'm doing really well. It's been great. I've been streaming a lot. I'll talk more about that later. But I'm just happy, pleased as punch to be here.
Hell yeah.
These are my favorite people.
I have noticed that you've been streaming more, which is awesome. I have not ran into your character.
Which is also really cool, isn't it? That the world is so big that I'm not guaranteed to run into you.
Yeah.
Just never. It's funny. My character on Wild, and I'll just share this and then we can move on. My character is thriving in Rhodes right now. And like Rhodes is this great little ecosystem, and Harper's really happy there.
Yeah, I ran through as one of my characters just yesterday, and I'm like, holy shit, there's so many people here, which is really cool.
There's really a lot.
But that's awesome. I'm so glad to see you streaming. I see like notifications in your tweets, and I'm just like, get so happy. So that's awesome. Let's continue on. Ray, how's your couple weeks been?
Oh, hey. I think my computer froze on me. Hold on.
Well, you don't
Here
look
we go.
fine
I'm
over
back.
here. We can see you fine.
I'm back. Oh, hey.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh. I've been doing well. I'm working on a lot of homebrew content. So if anybody's interested in games like Morkborg and spooky things, I'm coming for you for holiday season. So stay tuned. That's been fun. But besides that, I'm just stoked to be playing D&D again and to step into the toes of my monochromatic monk. So I'm stoked to be back.
Hell yeah. I'm super excited for your Morkborg stuff, by the way. I know you've been talking about it for a while, and I am just super stoked to just see what it's about, because you've talked about how dark it is. And I thought Vedranis was pretty dark, but then you started talking about yours. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. I got a weird brain, but I like it. But yeah, I'm really stoked. And like I said, I'm really excited to be back playing today. So I'm hoping we don't die. I'm hoping we don't die.
That's the hope for any D&D party. No promises.
It's the only expectation, or the only thing I go into every session with is, I just hope we don't die today.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. Last but certainly not least, Derek, my friend, how have you been?
I've been great. I've been hanging around being Brown, the usual. I can't complain. It's been good. It's been a good few weeks. I have been progressively going ahead and putting a story forth in Wild, which has been a lot of fun. Playing a Chinese coal mogul is not only daring, but it's also has been very exhilarating. Lots of change in the world of resources which one finds in the earth. And I've been playing a bunch of different games, a lot of games in early access. Been doing a bunch of this game called Cycle, which has been a great time, and been playing the hell out of that, trying to jump back into Apex and not be a pleb. Not faring too great, but overall still having a blast. But yeah, what's up and up to? And just hanging, dude. Hanging.
Hell yeah. You and I do need to play Apex. I have not played any of the new season, but I saw someone, some random person streaming the new map, and I'm like, this looks so much fun. I want to play.
It's awesome.
It looks really cool.
It's huge. And like, I love the fact that it's an island and it all goes uphill and downhill. So it feels like you're always racing to like one point, either running downhill or running uphill. I'm totally down. Don't threaten me with a good time, Lacuna.
Oh, I will threaten you with a good time. All right. Well, without any further ado, let's just journey back into the Lost City of Vedranis. Or do you have something to say, Justin? You look like you have something to say.
I
You're muted.
do. I was muted, but I want to know how
Yes.
you are.
Oh,
Yeah.
me? Pfft, I'm good. I actually been really good. I got a new job, like career new job,
Ayo.
that I hope to be at for a long time. I start in a couple weeks. I quit my other job at Best Buy like the day I found out. So I have like 2 full weeks off. I have like this full week and then like all the next week off to just kind of relax and hang out before I take on another big boy job. So I'm really excited about it. Like, honestly, I'm super stoked. Yeah, big boy job.
A big boy job.
So
Big boy
I'm
job.
good. I'll be doing some IT stuff up at the university here. So I'll be working on campus. I'm going back to school, but not to actually go to school. So, yeah, no, things are good. I appreciate you asking.
Good. Now do your big intro.
Okay. Now I feel awkward saying it all again.
Yeah.
I was there, and now I have to restart. But yeah,
Away.
let's do a little.
Should we just stop the stream and start from the beginning?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right.
Just cut it now. Are we good? Okay.
Good.
All right.
Quiet
So-
on set.
Last we left off, you daring, intrepid adventurers had come into the possession of a warp stone known as the Primordial's Eye, one piece of many of some ancient primordial great old one that seems keen or wants to reclaim its place in the city. You guys had been tasked to take this item back to Sigismund, the good doctor, who promised you to cure Knock, or at that time was only Knock, now by extension Wisp, of your warp disease, which is slowly taking over your body and turning you into a nasty creature of some sort. You guys had decided to hide the warp stone and approach Sigismund to come up with some sort of deal, kind of see what he's all about, as Dr. Karina had told you that he was kind of the architect of this plague that runs through the Old Growth Market. Even though she was the one who created it, it was by his voice that it was done so, and that he wanted to create or get the warp stone so he could end it, essentially becoming the savior of this district of Vedranis. You guys made your way back to the asylum, in which magical barriers have been erected, as some of these warp spawn that you guys had seen prior had attacked the asylum, and now everybody is residing in there. You talked to Sigismund, had some very choice words for him from your monk Wisp, who kind of called him out, really. Gave him a piece of your mind, and told him that you didn't have the warp stone, into which he said, well, I don't have to keep my end of the bargain since you didn't keep yours. Your beloved, lovely barbarian did let loose that you actually did have it, kind of rendering that conversation a little bit moot, but it's all good.
I know the truth.
A lot of truth, yeah. To which left you guys in a difficult spot. But Marcoris came across Roderick, the second in command of the Kyrogen, and was able to talk to him, and was able to convince him to see your kind of side of the story and to strike a deal for information on where and who to find to cure this disease that your friends had. And you guys had agreed to meet Roderick among his, as well as his trusted Kyrogen, back to the home where you had hidden the warp stone to strike some sort of deal. And that is where we start tonight. You guys have left the asylum. You guys are making your way past the barrier, which has been lifted so you guys can ease past, and you can see the gloomy, brackish sun beginning to set. And you guys are able to make your way back with Aiden, the Hellhound, and
can we paint this picture here?
Yes, please do.
Because if we're gonna go like we went last time, Nock has Wisp on his back, and Wisp has Jiraxius on their shoulder.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Then Marcourse is also there. Oh.
I thought I was unmuted, and I muted instead. Let us not forget that Wisp has multiple eyes now.
None of which work.
Yes, none of which work because she's blinded. So she's having to get a piggyback ride from Nock, and then Draxius is getting a piggyback ride from Wisp. Also, you got just to remember that Kimura had left you a note saying that she was going to investigate the Onyx Legion, her former group, or the group that she's a part of, and said she would try to find you should the need arise. So that's weighing heavy for you guys as well. It's cold as you guys make your way back to the home where you hid the warp stone. The snow is still falling. It's quiet. There's just kind of that quiet. You can hear that wind, as like on those winter days where the only thing you hear is kind of that, just the silence and the slight breeze, kind of leaving you guys to your own devices as you guys make your way back.
Is Wisp on my back?
Right.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm 110% on your back.
You're damn right.
All right. So, Nock is sauntering through, and you can notice that it's cold. I'm looking down to see at Macoris to see if he's shivering at all, if the cold is affecting him. I'm looking down at Are we with the Kyrogen?
No, they had told you that they will be arriving separately to avoid any
Suspicion.
Okay, I gotcha. All right. And he's gonna then look over his shoulder and say,
You doing good?
Yeah, I'm fine. Tired, but fine.
How's the eyes?
Still not working. And I give myself one of these to double check that my eyes aren't working. Yeah.
Just to check.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
she's one of those am I just tired and can't see, or am I actually still blind?
Gotcha.
And then everything just looks like a swirling painting of gray.
To be honest with you, these people don't go ahead and give us a damn anything to find a swamp. I'm gonna rip the wings off of that Birdman myself.
I don't know.
Maybe you could use it more than he would.
I mean, I won't stand in the way y'all getting a trophy or something like that. Knocking on how you love your trophies, beefcake. But
looks down to Macoris.
I think that this Roderick fella, I don't know, something about him says that he's like kind of our. You ever play one of them games where you got a bunch of sticks stacked on top of each other and you got to take one out without making a tower fall over? Something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Janinga.
Janinga, that's what it's called. And I feel like this fella here, this Roderick, he doesn't know what's happening up with the Birdman. I mean, we get on his good side, sow some discontent, I think it's going to crumble like a Janinga tower.
Yeah, you so trust this man. I mean, you had a conversation in a cafeteria.
Yeah. I mean, he seems interested, but more than that, he seems, what's the word? Surprised? Oblivious? Like, he doesn't know what this Sigismund guy is up to with it. You know, he didn't seem to know what to make of the idea that this Sigismund fellow was behind the curse. You know, that came as a surprise to me. And nothing upsets the apple cart more than finding out something that you thought you knew but you didn't know. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, all these doubts creep on into his brain. He starts telling the other Kyrogens about it. I mean, next thing you know, Sigismund's out on his feathered ass.
But they would still have the stone. And what happens when Sigismund tells Roderick everything that he can do with it? And Roderick knows that there's no other means to an end besides to become something like... And she like gestures to her eyes.
Hey,
I mean, I just tried to talk to it, and this is what happened to me. Let alone if they start messing with it beyond that. I just worry.
Sure. I mean, you know, it's kind of like once we get this cure for y'all, we can push elsewhere in the city and put these folk out of our minds. Okay? It's not going to be any worse than Sigismund having the stone. It's going to be a possibility of being better, right? Feels like a trade up, right? It feels like an improvement, this Roderick guy. Am I wrong? Am I just reading that myself?
No, he's definitely better than the bird.
Right.
Yeah.
Whole Janinga Tower going to fall over.
The whole
We can
damn
only hope. Are we still walking to the house, or have we gotten to the house?
If you want to still be walking towards it, you can. It was a decent ways away.
Yeah.
For
It's
you
like a
guys to
half a
get there.
day, wasn't it?
I don't think it was. It was an hour or so.
Oh, okay, just a handful of hours.
Yeah.
Do I see, like, just even kind of looking around, do I see any blips of light, or is it fairly dark? Like, do I see any, like, those, like, red kind of, like, spots of where light would be, or is it still just kind of like a gray nothing?
It's just still nothing.
Okay. I'm just looking out to see if I see torches, lights, anything like that. No, I'll just kind of look around, and I'll actually kind of like poke Jar. I keep wanting to call him Jarlaxle, and he's not Jarlaxle.
That
It's
you
a different
know
character. It's a different character.
Maybe he is. What's,
Jerry, I poke Jerry.
What is it?
Jerry, do you see anything of note around?
Jerry looks around. Does he see anything worth seeing?
Specifically anything different than the first time we traveled this road?
Sure.
Okay. Have Jerry make a perception check for me.
Yeah, Jerry making the first check of the night. Here we go. That is a 4.
For
Appropriate.
Jerry,
There is nothing.
yeah, there's not much for Jerry. He's not used to the sort of layout of a city, things like that. It's kind of confusing for him. He just sees.
What is wrong with this place that it is so celestially cold here? I hate it.
It's actually quite comforting to me.
It feels very natural to me there, Fireburn.
Tower of people.
I just kind of like, wow, like I've been like kind of like propped up on like his back, like I've been paying attention, but you see kind of like as he says this and we're still walking, my posture kind of slows, and I actually like put my chin on Nox's shoulder and just kind of like, you can see that she's getting a little tired, and she's not really like, she's almost a little restless, so this is just how she's like coming into herself.
Got a wisp parrot. Score.
Jerry crosses his small yet absurdly muscular imp arms across his chest, and he sort of pouts a little bit. He's like,
It is fine. I have faced worse than this. But I do not like it. I want to be on record. I do not like this weather. Noted.
Nock looks down to Macoris.
This man that you spoke to,
yeah,
I understand that you may trust him, understanding that the trust of him and his boss is there, or isn't. I believe you made the right move, of course. If anything, he's been sending these damn birdmen to their death for a very long time.
Yeah.
If it's anything that I know, war chiefs, you die in battle, there's honor in it. You destroy your entirety of your party. It is a great dishonor. If only you return.
Yep. I mean, this Sigismund fella, I mean, you said it, Chief. He ain't no war chief, right? He's I don't know what he is. Cult leader? An academic, even worse. It's like the headmaster of a school or something like that. And just sort of counting on people to follow his lead wherever he goes. You know? Because he's got the big brain or whatever. But as soon as you let that doubt creep on in, that trust is going to fall away like a Jenga tower.
What are we to do if he decides to do otherwise? He sees this. He sees it as an opportunity to take what we have gathered.
Take it away from Roderick?
No.
Oh, you're where the Roderick's
going
going
to
to
have a
abuse.
meeting over here to look at the orb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tries to take it by force. I haven't seen what these child urchins can do, but I've seen what you can do. And he sort of like squeezes his bicep. Right? I mean,
What? Knock, what did he do? Did he do something? I can't see.
I patted him on the arm.
He's
He's
trying
got big
to
muscles,
feel
you know?
my muscles.
I
I'm saying
also
it.
like
Very
reach
large.
down and pat Knock's arm, just
Mhm.
like
Knock is very unfamiliar to this. This is very weird to him because there's no
Physical comfort.
Yeah, it's like physical comfort, but also the physical presence of another person appreciating anything about a warrior, like their muscles and
Mhm.
whatnot. So he looks over at McCourse as they play with my biceps and triceps. I'm like,
You
I mean,
know,
listen, we're down to, well, what you see here. And he just sort of gestures at the whole party, including Aiden, right? He's like, yeah, you said it, buddy. And still, if I were to say, this little ragtag bunch is going to go up against some nerdy doctors, I put my money on us.
as do I.
And if you want, I can call in an intern. One of my workers from the home office.
Knock
You remember
looks very
Phyllis? Come on.
very confused on just a confused look on his face.
Remember we were finding the big spider and she turned up? She's like a big shadow lady. She's real sweet. She makes good brownies.
I
Nothing?
liked her. I liked
she
her.
was-
She
I
was,
mean,
she was
just
nice.
one more body,
Knock is just a complete
one
blank
more
face.
fella on the team or something.
Your intern.
Yep.
Is it too dark in the damn cave? I don't remember what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe it'll be a surprise.
I like lean into Knock's ear and just say,
Hey, do you remember the big room with the crossbow people? And we didn't really know how to get out, so he brought Phyllis in, and we said Phyllis was like an infected miner.
No. I'm sorry. I just over here. That was the zombie
oh.
miner that I brought back.
Like that, I
Phyllis was
remember.
on the
I
floating
remember.
islands, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
The man we
yes.
boiled. That was the
She
man we
usually does
boiled.
accounting, but she
Yeah.
was good. She's good in a pinch.
Oh.
What is accounting?
Just like what it sounds like. It's accounting, like it counts.
Like
Usually money.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. All right, showing off.
Four.
you see like a smirk as she smirks the tiniest bit.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's all the small talk I can sit there and think of. What is it
We
going to talk
walk.
about during this time? We walk.
We get to the house.
We arrive.
You guys, after your conversation, you spend some time in silence, just kind of keeping to yourself, thinking on the events that have transpired, until eventually you find yourself back in the little square where you'd stayed the night prior. And there's that one home where beneath it, where there had been a ghoul and a couple of zombies from a family who had died somehow, that there is a warp stone sitting under there, and you guys are able to make your way back in.
Is the body still there too?
Yeah, so there's so Vader's still there. I had to remember what body you're talking about. I'm like, there's ghouls and zombies there still, yes, but there's also wrapped up, as you had left him, seemingly unmoved or anything like that, is the body of Vader.
Fantastic. Nock does kind of have a little bit of a smile of relief on his face, knowing that he's still there.
Anything else you want to do before these fellas show up? Anything we need to go over? I mean, basically, we give them the warp stone. They tell us how to find this weed, right? And hopefully counteract some of these weird changes you're going through.
That's the hope.
That it is.
Is there any information we should not tell him? Anything that we should warn him of?
Shit, I mean, I think cat's out of the bag. I would let it flow freely. Anything that sort of makes them think twice about Sigismund.
Nock has a worried look on his face as he looks towards Wisp.
She has no idea that you're looking at her. She at this point, I think once we have gone inside and she hears that there's wood beneath our feet, she'll just kind of hop down off your back and just kind of feel around for a space to sit on the floor, and she'll sit with her her legs folded in, crisscross applesauce, and take off her bag, and she'll set it in front of her and just kind of get a bearing for the space. While I'm doing that, do I hear anything that might be weird, either under the floorboard or outside?
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
21, natural 20.
Natural 20. You do hear beneath the kind of the movement of the eye, as when you put that tarp, the peddler's tarp, over it, that it kind of spins. You can kind of hear the dirt and the earth moving as it is moving. There's also another sound that perks your ears as the sun sets. I'm not sure if you've heard this one before, but it's something that one of the parties heard before. Is something echoing from somewhere within the district, and it sounds like a squealing pig.
So it sounds like an echo, or is it kind of like a reverberation?
It sounds like an echo from somewhere off in the distance.
Okay.
Some
Instead of
hog.
a pig squealing, a hog.
Yeah.
She'll put her hands down beside her to kind of just get her bearings a little bit more, see if she can kind of listen in, and then,
Do you hear that?
What?
I'm just going to point in the direction where I think it's coming from.
That direction. There's a pig squealing.
Would Jerry hear it once Wisp points it out?
He can try to roll a perception check, like where she scored a natural 20.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can get high enough.
I mean, if he can get it. No, 5.
No, 5. Unfortunately, not. He's not hearing anything.
I hear nothing. It may be their ears are playing tricks on you.
Maybe. Never mind. The eye is still here. I can hear it moving.
Nock wants to can I also hear if he hears moving? You point the direction. Is it behind the house, front of the house?
It's just a distance.
It's from the distance, and the direction she's pointing is to the to the northeast,
Towards where we came from.
Yeah, it's a little bit off, but relatively in that direction.
All right. Nock is as you know, he's let Wisp goes up his back and everything else in between. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn around and walk back outside, or should I say, saunter my big ass outside, big rock ass, and I'm going to look in that. I'm going to sit down in front of, like, right next to the door, and just where the snow can still hit Nock, so that he can still feel the snow, and I'm going to then excuse me, my ears just died on me, but I'm going to go ahead and try to make a listen check as well, or not listen, but see if I can also hear the pig squealing as soon as I go outside.
Okay. Yeah, you would have to roll a perception check for me as well.
Yes, Dad. That P button. We got ourselves a wound of our 6.
A 6. Unfortunately, you're not hearing this either, and you're almost wondering if it's maybe kind of like Jiraxia said, it might be something that Wisp is hearing, because you don't hear anything.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll me just a straight intelligence check. Nock.
Ask the barbarian to roll a fucking intelligence. I love you. Look at that. Oh, that's a save. Fuck me.
Yeah, just roll a d20 plus your intelligence modifier, which is probably it's probably the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, That'd be a 7.
Okay. You don't recall anything? I'll let Wisp roll as well if you would like. Marcoris wasn't here. Yeah, just an intelligence check.
Marcoris also doesn't care.
That is a mighty 6. So
you guys
I
can't
know
recall.
jack shit.
Why
You
y'all?
guys- There's something on the tip of your tongue, someone had mentioned something about a pig or something, or a hog or something in the past. You just can't remember.
Honestly, what the issue is, y'all. I mean, if it's a pig, just let it be a pig. What are you worried about?
I mean, I don't think it's a question of letting a pig be a pig. I think it's just more if it's in distress.
Okay, but why are you trying to stop this pig from being a pig?
She's just like,
No, I'm saying, like, if a pig's in distress, like, oh no, you know?
I mean, if you kill the pig faster, that's food on your plate faster.
It's true.
So if the pig is in distress, why let it be in distress when I can cook the pig and have meat?
Okay, now you're talking. But still, I mean, like...
when's the last time you had pork?
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started.
It would be
Y'all
nice.
have BLTs here?
No, but we have trail mix.
and she like takes out the trail mix and starts eating it.
All right.
And I'm gonna eat some of my trail mix because I guarantee I'm hungry from the walking and from the journey. So I'm just gonna take out a ration and eat my trail mix.
Okay. Go ahead and mark off some rations, all of you, if you guys are choosing to eat at this point in time.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I will do the same.
Um,
Apparently, hearing a pig made us all hungry.
yeah, apparently.
Jesus.
You guys, it starts getting really late. Are you guys having anybody watch? Are you doing anything in the meantime while you're waiting for these Kyrian to show up?
Of course, is working on paperwork quietly. Nothing else.
I can't watch, so I'm going to. I actually have my writing supplies out, and I have one single color, one single piece of paper, and I'm currently writing something.
Do you know what color it is?
She assumes it's going to be the color for primordial, which in her little book I think is orange. Yeah, so I think she's assuming it's orange.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what color she grabbed though. She only has 4.
Roll a d4.
Okay. I think I have literally a D4 sitting right here. I'm gonna do that. So. Okay.
Physical.
Yeah, because Roll20 is not being nice tonight.
I got a 4.
So it is the one for
Cool.
primordial.
All right. Yeah. She's writing in orange, and she's writing in a language that no one else can read if they look over her shoulder.
Okay. Sometime during your waiting, you see Aiden's been kind of milling about, just kind of patrolling the room. At one point, he starts scratching at the door.
I mean, Aiden, if you want to, just because you're a dog, you can still use the chamber pot. I mean, there's a chamber pot right over there. You don't have to go to the bathroom outside.
He kind of tilts his head.
All right. I'm gonna get up and let him out the front door.
But yeah, does Nock hear this? Because he's sitting by the door. He's like, does he hear the scratching?
Oh
at
yeah,
the door?
he's right there at the door. Yeah.
Yeah, Nock just reaches his big ass arms over and grabs the door handle and just pulls the door open.
Pulls it off the hinges.
Yeah, just and then he's like,
Listen, use your words, mutt.
pulls up.
Ruh-roh, and think he needs to go to the bathroom.
And he kind of
Nock just shuts the fucking door as hard as he can after that. Lets the thing slam. Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to look at Aiden though and say,
You just gotta go to the bathroom, or what the hell are you out here?
he just like nods his head.
I do it some over there so I don't smell it.
He
Imagine
crop
how
dusted
weird
you
that
on his
would
way
be.
out.
he what?
He crop dusted you on your way out.
Oh, we ain't eating piggies. We're eating that fucking dog. All right.
Not stay. Oh, what the hell do you hellhounds even eat?
You recall that he ate the same thing that you did the same day as you guys ate. The same
Oh,
food
I
at the
bet hellhound
cafeteria.
farts smell awful.
I have this dog farts always. smell
Sulfur,
terrible.
brimstone.
Oh.
Just
smells like a
don't
volcano.
don't let him fire breathe on it. So yeah, he kind of you let him out. Is anybody, like I said, are you guys keeping watch at all, or?
I think once Aiden is out, Marcoris would go and stand outside next to Nock and just sort of keep an eye on the horizon towards the asylum.
Okay. After maybe an hour, long after you would expect anyone to show up, Nock and Marcoris, you hear like a fluttering as you look up to the roof, which is lightly covered in snow. You see a crow with emerald green eyes, slightly larger, closer in size to maybe a raven or something like that. It kind of looks at you, both tilts its head.
Howdy.
So now you're gonna come here with a bunch of other one of your friends? I gotta worry about your flock.
Call to you too.
It caws again. All of a sudden, it kind of starts cawing rapidly. and flies off again.
Right. I'm gonna look around again, just scan the area, make sure that it wasn't stirring up trouble.
Okay,
Yeah,
make a perception check.
Nox stands up as well.
Okay,
Grab
you
it
can make
back.
a perception check as well.
Heard.
I'd rather assist Nox if that's okay.
Okay, so Nock, you can make your perception check at advantage.
Oh my god. Let's fucking do it. Perception.
Let's go.
All right, so it'll be a 17.
17.
Nice.
As the crow flies off, you begin to hear a sound you're very familiar with, spending your time up in the Garcaean Mountains. You hear footsteps under, like snow, crunching under snow. You hear that sound. It's not very quiet. And
How many footsteps do you think is it? Like,
maybe half a dozen,
okay.
maybe more. It's hard to tell.
I'm just gonna look back to Macoris and say,
Let Wisp know. We're about to have company.
Uh,
Get 'em out of it, too.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fine. And Wisp, you're in the middle of writing when you hear Jerry on your shoulder say, "They approach."
I like jump and I actually like, yeah, there's like a blotch of ink on the page now because I was unprepared. And I will go through the motions of keeping the page out to let it dry for a moment, but putting my inks away and
Jerry sees that happen. He goes,
back up.
"Sloppy. Keep practicing and you will improve."
I move my hand to like bat him out of the way. I try to like a bug on a windshield. I'm trying to move him out of my way.
He leaves your shoulder, flutters in the air for a second, and comes back down.
There is an audible, like heavy sigh that leaves her. She's just like, oh, all right. And I go to stand up. And I'll like feel along the wall until I like find a position where there's like nothing there, and I'll like put my back against the wall and just kind of wait. And I have the letter in my hand.
Okay.
Where am I, before this all happens, where am I in correspondence to the eye?
So it's still below you guys, unless you guys
Below.
pulled it from underneath where you guys
I
hid it.
haven't. No, I don't think
We haven't done that yet. Okay, then I'm
Yes.
going to keep the letter. I'm going to fold it once, so it's just folded once in half in my hand. And I'm going to hold it at the wall.
Okay, perfect. Before too long, Marcoris and Nock, you begin to see several Kyrigen begin to kind of crest the hill in which you guys reside. Several of them are carrying lanterns as it shoots off-putting shadows onto the buildings around you as you guys walk. And
big, tall, creepy shadows.
yeah, at the forefront, you do, though you don't see his face, you do recognize Roderick, as he's only got one arm, and his robe has kind of been like lashed, like the rest of the sleeve has been tied off and lashed up to like his forearm, and you see that large crow on his shoulder as he begins walking. They are armed. They do wield swords, daggers. Some of them even have crossbows.
Marcoris doesn't change his posture at all. He is leaning against the building. He's not going to give them reason to think that we're confrontational at all. Just like we're here. He's going to play it cool. We're here to make a drug deal. Yeah.
Peace out, homie. See you on the block. But Nock is doing the polar opposite. He does have his axe with two hands on it, and he looks at Macoris and he says,
I hope this goes well, because I'm really getting sick of birds.
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it.
waits for their approach.
You, yeah, they do approach, and you see Roderick as he holds up his fist. Several of them stop, and he approaches with one other.
Knock on tents.
They don't have their weapons drawn at all, and he says, as he approaches, he says, "Were you followed?"
Not as far as we can see. I mean, there was a pig. Never mind. I won't tell you about the pig. But was it you who sent that crow ahead to take a look at us? Because a little while ago, big old crow landed on the roof and gave us a once over.
This one, and he points up to the one that's on his shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, was that him? All right. Howdy. Sure. Yeah. Then.
He nods, kind of turns to him and says, "Keep an eye out. Alert me if you see anything." It flies off.
Well, y'all want to come inside? Or how do you want to do this?
Let us speak. He kind of gestures to the door.
Yeah.
Sounds
Come
fine.
on.
Dory and I will take care of these things. The rest will make sure that we are not interrupted.
All right. Sounds good. Come on in. It's not much, but
Definitely.
no, it's not much. I've got nothing else to add to that. It's just not much.
Knock grabs the door and does open it for both of them. All three of
Okay.
them.
As they walk in, you see Roderick stop, and he looks at the door with the white X on it, and makes some weird gesture with his hand, and then steps in.
Hey, brother, can I ask, as long as you're here, what's the X mean? Like, there's nobody alive inside, or you've already killed the people inside, or what?
It means they've already been evacuated, or
Oh yeah.
were sick and perished.
Sure. So nobody left inside.
Yes.
Okay. Well, big surprise. We came in here and we did find some people inside. Kind of like well, not people, an undead creature, and two others that must have been her kids. We sent them off a while ago, but it's safe now. Took care of it. Just saying, gotta be thorough, I guess.
Right. Well, that is not the purpose of tonight.
No. We're here for a trade, right?
Yes.
Some of my friends, and he says that word, he chews on that word as he says it. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't expect it to come out of his mouth. And he's like, some of my friends are feeling some ill effects of the disease that's wasting away this. It's my understanding that lure weed, when it's brewed correctly or turned into a poultice or tea or something, can restore them in some way.
Let us see it first, please.
Can I do an insight check here?
Sure.
Just feels like a good time for an insight check. That a 10.
10.
I'm gonna start rolling physical dice like Gray.
Okay. You might be a little off put, but you do recall the conversation that you had with him earlier in the day, where he is very forthright about what he wants and everything.
All right.
So.
All right. Over here, and I'm gonna pull that part of the floor up. Don't mind the dead bugbear. I think he used to be friends with him.
Yes.
Okay, great. Pull it up, and I say, all right down there, and I point down to the big eye with the drop cloth on it.
Which he does make a point of. He's like, what is that?
It was given to us, that midnight peddler fella?
Knock looks for him like really fast with like big eyes.
Oh, there's some fella, a hoarder, who wanders around doing trades and shit. And he gave us something to put over the eye that stops it from perceiving us. You have no idea how creepy this thing is, okay? Just always looking at you. Never a moment of privacy. Also, perhaps you'll grow extra eyes or your tongue will get real long.
Very well. You said that you would tell me what Sigismund said to you earlier in the day.
Sure. Now this is Justin's failing, is that I want to remember everything. He does want to provide this information, right? So I need a moment to think, because it's been 2 weeks. He says, now when we first met your buddy Sigismund, he sent us to find the laboratory of this Karina Leaked woman. He said that she was the person who started the plague on the city. And if we had been able to come back with some information, maybe her warp stone, it could bring him some answers of how to stop it, right? We got there. Turns out she's not dead. Well, half of her is dead. The other half is undead and attached to a giant spider. It was gruesome. She was trying to summon the Weaver, Gurgatal, and we nipped that in the bud. You know, ended her plans. Yep. Knock broke some of her legs off. It was pretty cool. Just looks at Knock.
Yeah, he doesn't break eye contact with the cards. Like,
Yep. But before she died, she told us that maybe we didn't get the whole truth from Sigismund. Like, perhaps it wasn't just her who started this plague, but maybe they worked in tandem to bring it about. And it started to feel less like he was trying to stop the plague and more like he was trying to cover up, if you know what I mean.
Continue.
So, we got this big old eyeball, and he points down at it. Brought it on back. We had a fucking knock. We had a little audience with Sigismund, and well, I'm gonna be honest. Wisp was uncharacteristically
Bold.
Bold. Thank you, Wisp. And let them have a piece of their mind, and basically said, "Hey, we lost a party member." Points at Vodder. And some others too. There was another guy, wasn't there? Calder.
And the sister to this one. And she points in the vague direction of where she remembers
that makes it worse.
The dog being. So
Yeah.
3.
So it kind of felt like a fool's errand. But then only to learn later that Sigismund might have had something to do with this foul play, you know? It just leaves a bitter taste in our mouth. So we let him have, Wisp let him have a piece of their mind. And then he said, well, you gotta, you gotta give me the eye and all this. And I don't know, am I forgetting anything, y'all?
No,
What,
that
not
pretty
kinda
much covers a lot of it.
No, I'm asking Cole if I'm forgetting anything.
No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty good. He kind of nods. I also want to point out that Wisp pointed to where Aiden was. He's not there anymore because he's still outside.
Very good. Very good.
And so he takes all this in, and he's very respectful and quiet. Does not interrupt or anything like that. And he says, "I knew Dr. Karina. And to say that she was bad when I knew her is an understatement. But And as he kind of sits there and thinks, I need you to roll a persuasion check for me, Marcoris.
Yes, I will do this. Oh, I'm rolling physical dice now.
Okay.
Forget this. This is my D20 right here. This is my bisexual
Oh.
D20.
Hell yeah.
And it's he has a +6 to persuasion.
Oh shit.
So that's a 19.
But she wasn't a liar. No. I don't know what sort of sick thing may have happened in the time that I knew her and the time I believed her to be dead. But there have been questions on Sigismund's leadership for some time. I believe you, as much as I know you. And I'm willing to take this stone off your hands in exchange for the information that you desire.
That seems like a fair trade, and I'm willing to say yes to that. Question is, this is more curiosity than anything. What are you going to do with it? Do you think there's a way to reverse what's happening?
I hope so.
Oh, also, it's a part of a giant elder god being, so, don't put that back together.
And he asked us very specifically for this thing. This is what Karina was trying to do.
Yeah, she was using it she was like feeding it souls or something like that, trying to raise Gurgatal.
I tried to talk to it, and now I can't see. So I'd be careful with whatever you do decide to do with it.
I am not afraid of it because I am afraid of nothing.
I'm sure, Miss Lynn. We will take the utmost care with this thing. And we will have some words with Sigismund as well.
All right. I mean, that's your business. We got no love for the fella, and you seem like a straight shooter there. So,
I don't get very far in life with semantics and such. After the stone is in my possession, I'll give the information you need.
all right. Okay, now we do recommend keeping it wrapped up. I mean, you can take a peek if you want, but remember, this thing will mess you up, and you know that probably just as well as anybody. But let's see. Knock, would you mind? Your arms are longer than mine. Sort of see if we can reach down and grab that big old beach ball.
Knock grumbles, but reassuringly grumbles, and walks over to the hole. The hole itself is like basement deep, so it's about 10 feet down. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 feet. It was yeah.
So Knock just jumps down.
Okay.
Lands. Goes over to the eye. Make sure he starts at the top of the tarp and moves his way all the way down to its sides, and then picks it up.
Okay.
And he's like,
Who are you gonna go ahead and grab it? You kind of.
I mean, it sort of levitates, doesn't it?
It does sort of levitate, and as you push it, it's a little bit lighter than you might think, and you kind of lift it. Roderick kind of goes to the door and calls for a couple more Kyrogen, and they come in and help lift it out of the hole, and he kind of turns to them and he says, "Secure it like we spoke about. Put it where we spoke about, and we will reconvene later. We'll go." And they...
Do you have a replacement to cover it with? that tarp is something that we had to give up a good deal to get, and we would
That's
like
true.
to keep it.
Nock nods very slowly at the other Kyrogen.
Something very important.
I mean, we just have to give up a lot. They're not wrong. If you got something that'll
Anything will
Oh.
cover it.
feel more like a trade, you can have the tarp, but I mean, we need some help to get where we're going.
Make me another persuasion check.
Show. If is this a group?
Can they get advantage because of
Sure.
helping?
Sure. Yeah, I can give you
Okay.
advantage.
All right, I'll roll that. That is a 22.
Bada boom, bada bing.
He stops for a moment. Thinks. Very well. Reaches into his satchel. Actually, he takes off his satchel and hands it to you.
Ooh, doesn't really go with my outfit.
Now I can
But-
keep it if you like.
Oh, I'm just
That's the
kidding.
only thing I have to
I'm
give
just
in
being
return.
silly. You know me. Well, you don't know me, but I'm a silly guy. I like to joke around. I'm sorry about that. And I'm gonna open it up and check it out.
You see, by rough estimates, maybe 5 or 6 healing potions, some rations and food. And then you see a small little box that catches your attention.
Yeah, this seems fair. The tarp is yours. I'm gonna I was about to say I'm gonna toss the bag to Wisp, but that would have been horrible. So I'm going to walk over to Wisp, and he is going to like confidently but gently take her hand and like put the bag into her hand and wisp her to her that it has like it's like some healing potions in there, some food and water, and something else we want to take a look at later.
And you said there were 5 or 6. Healing
We'll say 6.
6. Okay, so 6 healing potions, rations, and then a special box.
Yep. It's like a very small box.
Small special box.
Okay.
Very ornate looking.
I, in response, will slip the paper that I've been holding with the note that I wrote on it to Marcoris, and I will whisper back,
Get this under the tarp. Make sure it touches the eye. Text first.
and she'll slip him the note and take the satchel and put it around her to go
Right.
with the others.
He pauses for a moment, and then he doesn't even walk away. He just sort of takes the piece of paper and hands it to Jerry,
Okay.
and Jerry flies out the door towards the eye. Just sort
It's a small piece of paper, so it's not a full size piece. It's maybe about almost like a
Index card.
small note, yeah,
Index
like an index
card.
card sized. So when it's folded, it's smaller than that, but it's only folded once, and it's the size of an index card.
So Jerry very unceremoniously gets under the skirt of this primordial eye.
Mm-hmm.
And,
As it's being hauled out by Kyra.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And basically takes the card and slaps it up against the eyeball.
Okay. I will allow him to either make a stealth check or a sleight of hand check with
Okay.
advantage. Up to you to do this.
With the stealth, he would. I didn't say he's invisible.
I assumed he'd be.
I assumed he would be. Do you, I'll do. You said either stealth or sleight of hand with advantage. either?
Yeah, either one.
Okay.
Advantage because he's invisible.
He'll do a
like I said, I assumed he's
stealth with
invisible.
advantage then.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad about that. That is a 24
Okay.
as opposed to a
A
critical
natural
fail.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Good thing. And you kind of watch as, like, through your eyes and your sight, watching Jerry, and he does do so without notice.
Right. And he gets under the tarp, and the piece of paper would be invisible until he reappears.
Mhm.
So he reappears while under the tarp to hold it up against the
Right.
and waits for a response.
Yeah, I don't know if anything it's gonna do, but all the note says is written in primordial. It says, "We saved you from the doctor. Please save us all from Sigismund. Do not give him what he wants."
Okay.
And that's all it says.
In primordial.
In primordial, yes, because I can read and write in primordial.
Okay.
And he holds it there for long enough to be read, hopefully. And then he bamfs back out invisible and just sort of drops to the ground and lets them walk away with the...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you guys watch as 4 of the Kyrogen begin making their way in a western or eastern direction, I'd say, away from where you guys are at, leaving you alone with 1 Kyrogen as well as Roderick and Dorian. Sigismund looks around and says, "Well, you kept your end of the bargain, I suppose. I will keep mine."
Pretty please. Appreciate it.
You are looking to find the Hanging Gardens. It's a swamp. It's not a garden.
Oh, it's like a joke. Okay.
It used to be called the Hanging Gardens. It used to be a very beautiful park before everything happened. It's dangerous now. Kyrogen have not been able to go there for some time. Even the crows cannot get through. There's something there that, well, nature has run its course. And has become aggressive to intruders and outsiders. You are looking, as you need, for loreweed. It's a flower. Looks like one. With blue
Right.
petals. Usually found towards the center of the Hanging Gardens in the swamps.
Okay, now how do we synthesize it to something useful?
That takes time, education, and learning. A very long time. What you need to do is find Lady Lure.
Lady Lure.
Yes.
Is this an actual person or is it another joke?
She is real. She taught us much of what we know about loreweed.
Okay. Any idea how we find her?
Make your way towards the center. Look for a giant willow tree.
Got it.
That is usually where she makes her home.
And just to confirm, this is what direction? North?
North from the asylum, about 4 days.
4 days. All right. Any way to get there without going past the asylum once more? I mean, it's not that far, but...
You could perhaps circumvent it. The asylum follows the main road outside to that district. If you travel around the asylum to the northeast, you might be able to circumvent your way through there, or you could potentially get your way through the sewers.
Oh, sorry, there's a sewer system here?
Yes. It's
Fancy.
archaic.
Knock rolls his eyes.
Sewer. Sick of being around.
It's not gate sewers. We're learning about Knock.
The choice is yours.
Is there any sort of positive or negative to either one of those? A reason why we would prefer to choose one over the other?
I mean, is the sewer filled with poisonous gas and giant rats, or?
That and worse.
Okay, all right.
You'll get there quicker if you survive. Circumventing the asylum will take you much longer, but it's safer if you can avoid other Kyrogen. I cannot... While most of them are loyal to me, I cannot say the same for all of them.
Sure, yeah. All right, noted. Knock, Wisp, Iden, you have any other questions?
I'm
Yes.
still not there.
How do you plan to keep this? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no, Wisp, go ahead. Your questions are probably more important.
Right, we're gonna go first. We're gonna go Wisp first, then Knock. Okay. Then Jerry.
Chorus and goes.
When did he become the parent?
What? Oh. You said that you will take the utmost care of the eye. But you've never come into contact with it, so you don't know how to care for it. What happens if you fall prey? Who will protect us all then? Who is in charge of you, should you fail?
Well... Sigismund is the head of our order, and I am the second in command, but... Sigismund, as well as I and the other Kyrogens, we follow the Rook. I intend to take this eye to them, to see what they would have us do with it, as I can guarantee that Sigismund has gone beneath the beak of the Rook. The Rook might not be privy to what Sigismund has done.
Do I recognize the name the Rook?
I can't quite remember if it's been mentioned to you before.
I don't think it has.
I think it's only been
I think
mentioned
that's
to
brand
Vada.
new.
I think it's only
Yeah.
been mentioned to Vodder, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. Who is this Rook? Is it a... And she like gestures to the sky? Or is it another one of us down here?
At that, when you say that, and when Roderick mentions Dorian and the other Kyrogen who's still there, they like put their hand like close to their like face and bow. And Roderick says, he kind of leans in. You mentioned the Weaver. You've mentioned this primordial. I think, from what I know about them, the Rook is similar. Though,
So another one of those things.
he is our deity.
And what does he protect you from?
Everything that seek would come to harm us. These crows are his offspring.
Crows keep you safe as well, under his guise.
You nod. And then it starts to kind of hit you when you first entered the city and accosted the Kyrogen, why these crows attacked you and why they've been attacking the warp spawn and the undead in the area. It's starting to kind of all click for you.
So, question. If the Rook controls your ravens and your birds, and they attack the beasts that are because of this illness, how does Sigismund continue with his leadership being such a disappointment to the Rook?
That is what I intend to find out.
She nods. I hope you do. And she puts her head down and stares at the floor.
And now I believe it's Nock's turn.
Thank you, of course.
You're welcome.
Nock takes an extra second to think long about his question.
The Kyrian are all around these towns. They put these X's on all these buildings. Where is it that your jurisdiction is no longer valid? Is it all of Vedranis? Or just here?
Just within the old Croak market. We are not as many that we can go throughout the entire city. Most of us haven't even seen it. You could go months walking through the city and not see the entire thing.
This I believe. That is the end of my questions.
All right. And now I believe it's Jerry's turn. Jerry looks down at him and he says,
I do not have a question. I have advice for you. Your leader is weak, and you should unseat him. Then you will be the source of power. This is my advice to you, mortal.
Noted, Jerry, thank you.
He kind of nods and he says, the thought would not slip my mind.
This one is intelligent. Perhaps he should be a part of our adventuring group. Maybe the large one can leave.
Wisp kind of does one of those who the fuck asked this guy? Sort of she's just she can't tell where anybody is. She's assuming people are places, so she's just kind of looking around, hoping somebody makes that comedic eye contact with her, even though she has no idea. She's she's really really surprised her.
Mm-hmm.
Nock looks at as soon as he says it, he looks at. Is he in grabbing distance?
Sure.
Good. Nock reaches over and grabs imagine Nock's size of his hands to the back to his imp, it's 2 fingers over his back. The rest
He would
of his
totally
weight
fit in
crunch.
your hand. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's just a grab, and I want to hold him. I'm gonna shake him like a fucking rat. I just want to hold him and be like,
Know your value, imp.
and he just holds on to him. Let him struggle for a bit and puts him back down on his side. But then he does look at the Kyrian again and says,
I have one last question.
he looks to Wisp and says,
What was that god that Vodder preached to?
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, guys, what was it?
Yeah, what was Vodder's
Hold
god?
on.
I'm a dumb barbarian. I can't be the smart one.
God damn it. I had it. I knew what it was.
It's definitely not Cat.
No, it's not Ket. It's one that
here's
had
a
to do
hint.
with the in-between.
Yeah.
I knew it was the god of the in-between.
Its
It starts
name.
with a W, right?
No, its name
Nope.
started with a V, just like
V.
Vodder's name.
I fucking
I want to see if
wrote
chat
it
knows.
down.
No, of course they don't.
I don't know if chat
No,
would
no.
know.
No.
That's been a minute since
been a
that's been
minute.
talked about.
I think both of these fools should roll an intelligence check to see if they remember.
Sure.
Or a religion.
Sure.
I know that Wisp would 110% remember because they had such an interesting conversation about them, but I cannot for the life of me remember where I wrote it down in my notes.
I can just give it to you. It's fine.
Hold on. I rolled a 4. Never mind. 86 that. Never mind.
That's a 4. Never mind. Balloon.
Balloon, okay.
Balloon,
Fucking
yeah.
fuck me. I thought it was Waloot or some shit like that. Fucking V. Damn it.
Waluigi?
Don't
Wah.
don't
Oh my god.
So I am, as the imp is shaking in my hands, I'm going to say to Chiropteran of Chiropteran? It's not the fucking name. That's the name of a fucking vampire demon. I'm sorry.
The vampire demon?
Yeah. If you ever watched the anime Blood Plus, you know what I'm talking about. How they call Chiropterans are like vampire, like gargoyle creatures. Are fucking crazy. Anyway, he asked,
On the way to the swamp, is there one of these churches where people would have worshipped a god named Valoon?
Yes, there is. It's in a hideous state of disrepair, but about a day and a half to the northeast, you might find one of these. Small, but it is there.
northeast. That is in the same direction that we will be going to get to the swamp. Yes. Okay. Vadar is dead, but Nock puts his hand on the Karajan's shoulder and like gets close to him. And for the first time in a long time, you hear Nock say,
Thank you.
and he throws Jerry at a wall.
Oh!
I kind of want to roll to see how much damage Jerry takes. D6. Roderick looks at you and he says, "You're all welcome." Then he kind of nods and he says,
Is there anything else?
No, you've been very cooperative. We appreciate it. Hope that the next time we pass through, you'll find things a bit changed at the asylum. I wish you the very best.
We shall see. Thank you. And good luck on your journey.
Y'all be careful with that eye.
he kind of nods. Dorian nods and the other Kyrogen nods, and they all make their way out of the little home that you guys have been staying in. And as you guys try to figure out your next moves and what to do next, that is where we will take our break. We'll see what happens when we come back. Thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. Thank you for the follows and whatnot. We appreciate you. We'll be back in 7 to 10 minutes. Grab a drink, grab a snack, use the restroom if you need to, and we will see what happens next. Thank you again, and we will see you soon.
You guys are good.
And welcome back, everybody. I hope you heard Derek say penis. I hope you've all got your snacks and whatnot. Okay, so you guys are now left in this home, which you stayed for a night or so. The warp
Really,
stone
it feels
is,
like our home now.
yeah. There's a couple of zombies in the basement, but which house doesn't have zombies in the basement? You guys are left alone. The Kyrogen are gone. The warp stone is gone. And the first thing you notice is this kind of sense of relief, this sense of a weight lifted off your shoulders. And as you're kind of realizing this, Wisp, you begin to see little splotches in the darkness that are surrounding you. And over the next little while, your vision begins to come back.
I imagine like when it first starts happening, she's almost in like denial. She's like, no, like my eyes must be playing tricks on me. There's no way. And as the sense of relief and comfort starts to come over her and she starts to be able to see more and more, I imagine that there's this moment of like absolute clarity and recollection where she's like, oh no, I can see. And she like looks around and she starts like, she looks at her hands and she like grabs the satchel and everything around her. And she's just like looking at everything. And the first thing she does is she brings out her notebook, not all of her inks and things, but just the notebook, and like goes through and tries to look at the last couple of pages and just tries to see and make sure that it was all real. And then kind of when she has this like recollection, she just like, I can see again. And she's looking like directly at both Marquarus.
I will say it's a little bit blurry. You're kind of like Han Solo or Return of the Jedi, but
yeah, coming out of the yeah, I can totally feel that.
Yeah.
And she just starts like, she's like rubbing her eyes and she's like, she's like doing weird hand motions and just like reflex testing and just like, yeah, like she's voguing to herself
She's
right
voguing.
now. She's self-voguing. But yeah, no, she kind of just like, you see her very physically enthusiastic, and she's I still a little blurry, but
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, maybe it's because the eye went away or something.
Maybe. How do you all feel?
I'm fine.
He starts poking a little bit, like at Wisp to see like if any like the eyes might come back out on her flesh.
Do they hurt when he's poking those eyeballs? Do I feel any pain?
oh, absolutely. It feels like someone's poking you in the fucking eye.
Could you not?
Sorry, I thought that they would maybe not be able to see anymore. You could shut them.
I think Jiraxis
I
is trying to
don't-
bat Nox's hands away.
I don't know how these function, but at least I can see out of these ones.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad that you can. And
He says, and like referring to the question of you as, am I feeling fine? Not like
Yeah,
concentrates
I
and
feel
the
good.
flame still bulging out of his shoulders and whatnot, and he goes, opens his mouth, tongue falls out, long tongue falls out, sucks it back in.
Well, I mean, not. I mean, I still have my eyes, but
Yeah.
I feel lighter. Like I can breathe.
Nock jumps up into the air and lands.
nope, still heavy.
All right.
I think they mean like a sense of weight has been lifted.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it too now that you pointed out.
Inside.
And she's like pointing to her head and like pointing to Nox's head.
Like
You know what it
inside.
feels like? It feels like I had a headache for like all day, and now finally it's like gone, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize it was there.
Yeah, like that. I just feel like I can relax my shoulders again.
So I would say Nock is like looking at you with a very curious look because he doesn't have that feeling. It's It's more or less the fact that I think that the mental anguish he's had with a lot of things coming into his head and everything else too. It's and fucking with it on top of it as well. It's every bit of the tension still with his mind, with everything that has unfurled. It is still of ill effect. He's just
Nothing's changed.
It's all right.
But
I mean,
glad to
baby
see that
steps,
it's
baby.
changed for you, Wisp.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm
this
just
is
happy I can see again.
Yeah, right. This is a vast improvement, especially since we're going into a dangerous swamp.
Yeah.
Like,
Are we really going into this sewer?
no,
We just
hell
came
no.
here.
No.
I was
long
gonna
journey
ask
underground.
to discuss that. It might be better if we take the longer route.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
sewer
wanna
seems
be
a little
stuck under.
bit icky.
Yeah, I don't want to be stuck underground again. That didn't go well the first time.
True. Plus, we can pretty easily. You want to go to church, Knock? What was this about?
I do want to go to church.
get the gospel. No,
Take me to church.
I was waiting for that.
Sorry, I had to.
oh my Lord. Sorry, I got the glory going.
You got the Holy Spirit.
You know it. I feel like I need to go to a Southern Baptist church. If none of you guys have ever been, even if you're not a Christian, you gotta go
Oh.
once. And they're fucking, and especially a Black Baptist, you'll love your fucking life. It's so the energy,
Oh, the music.
God, it's palpable, and the music, fucking ridiculous. Anyway,
So people just
my-
wander in and play like better than anyone I've ever heard play ever before. Anyway,
So yes, McCorus, we're going to a Southern Baptist church.
he does nod at you and answers at you.
Yes, I'm going to go to a church. Not because I do. The man, Varder, the bugbear, he believed in this balloon, a god of the in-between. Burying him anywhere else does not seem right. If that's not to leave him there, or his spirit, to mend with the god himself. But it's a place to lay him to rest.
sure, all right. They said a day to the northeast.
Indeed, and 4 days to the north to get to the swamp.
4 days north of the asylum. I'd have to look at do we have a map anywhere?
Map attack.
What I'm saying is there a map?
Is there a map? You mean like a player map or like a character map? I can definitely bring you over to the map.
That was just me not blinding
I
myself
do
anymore.
notice that you have no active conditions. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
So yes, you guys are on the green little hex, which is essentially the asylum. And so about 4 days off the map, because we don't have that portion of the map yet. We're not on here yet. But essentially 4 days, 3-4 days to the north is what you would expect the direction to be told. But you were told that you would need to go around the asylum to the northeast a little bit.
Okay. Well, we go northeast, take Knock to church, and then sort of track back to the west and head north from there.
That works for me. It makes sense.
Well, it's nighttime now, right? I mean, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, it is dark. It's probably 1 a.m. You would venture a guess. As you guys are sitting there, you start to hear growling
Aiden?
come from the outside somewhere.
Is Aiden inside or still out?
He's still out.
Where's Aiden? I'm gonna go to the door and go out and see what's going on.
Okay. You open the door to the brisk, kind of cold winter air that kind of pushes through the door as you open it. And even with your dark vision, you don't you don't see anything. You see the footsteps of the Kyrogen of where they had left some time before. You do see some other footsteps of a hound dog. Like
I imagine all the snow around the Hellhound footsteps is melted,
it is.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's fiery.
Yeah, and I suppose you don't see the paw prints. You just see the
Right.
kind of the melted circular snow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna follow those. And yeah, just sort of wave the others on. So like, I might be in trouble, y'all. Come on. Follow the footsteps. To
Yeah, I follow instantly.
The divots.
The divots. It's a good word.
He actually doesn't follow. He goes to the room where Vodder's in. Just because he thinks it's just a dog.
Yeah, so the house you're in is only like a one room thing. So yeah, you're just fine.
Is it dark outside where we are? Is it nighttime? Like
It is
proper nighttime?
Mm-hmm.
I will reach into the bag of holding and take out the drift globe, and I will activate it. I will say the word. I imagine I've used one of these before, and kind of just like activate it. And I want it to stay hovering around like the middle of the party. So like I imagine as we're traveling, it'll stay kind of like right above us.
So going out is just Marcoris and Wisp and Jerry.
And Jerry.
And Jerry. Can't forget Jerry. His mortal nemesis is doors or anything strength related. So as you kind of let the drift globe kind of follow in between you two, it kind of again cast these strange shadows as you hear like a low growling, almost like something's fighting something else, like, or struggling to like do something. Like, as I'm sure you guys have heard dogs kind of like growling like that, coming from somewhere off in the distance between these houses. As you guys continue traveling for a few minutes, all of a sudden there is this bright light of fire that kind of erupts across one of these walls of one of these empty houses, and then you can kind of hear the growling again.
Did Auden do that? Hold on, Jerry, go get Knock, and I'm gonna send Jerry back to the house.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna push on with Wisp. Like, hey, I know you've been keen to use out that new eyesight that you got back. If you could sort of, I'm kind of squishy. If you can get in front, and I'll back you up.
Sure. And I will move forward. I will spend the points and cast dark vision on myself.
Okay.
So that I can see further than the drift globe, because I think the drift globe only goes like 30 feet. Or it's a dim light or something like that.
Yeah, I'd have to look up.
Yeah, I'll have to look
the
that up
rules
too.
again, but, I think it should say in your.
It does, yes. It says daylight. It's just the light cantrip 60 feet around me. So then I will not do the dark vision because that's my limit as well. So I'll just I'll move forward with the drift globe kind of more behind me than near Marcoris and try to move forward to see if I
real
see
dramatic lighting where we just see your silhouette.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as Jerry gets back to the house, he goes right up to Knock and says, "The dog is in trouble. You should come and be of assistance."
When he gets there, you see Knock. He's kind of like has like clothes or whatever fabrics that could be like rummaged around inside of like the area, and he has them sprawled out, and he's ripping them into like I would say like 2-inch fucking 1.3-inch strips, and he is the bed frame that Vodder is laying on. DM, is it wood?
Yes.
Okay. Knock has also knocked off like the head of the bed frame and the bottom of the bed frame, and he's kind of tying it so that he can almost make like a backpack for him to stay on his back.
Okay.
So that he can still be laying down and Knock can still carry him. And
that looks like a Dark Souls enemy if I've ever heard of one. But
right. Knock actually is a Dark Souls enemy now, but he listens to Marcoris and goes,
Never a quiet night in this damn city.
And he pushes, you know, Mr. Dick around, pushes him out, and like walks out the door, like stumbling out of the door frame down the little hallway, and grabs his axe on the way out and pushes his way through the door to head outside. The tracks are going in only one direction, to the left.
Yeah,
Jerry,
and
would
I'm
go
sure
back that way.
Jerry would.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like,
Bird, take me there.
What a fucking sentence. Bird, take me there. Yeah, Jerry would lead you back towards where we were.
Okay.
Bird.
Fantastic. The rest of the group, you're coming up on kind of like an alleyway that kind of turns to the left, and that's where kind of the most of the light is coming from. And again, you hear and this bright light of orange light kind of erupts from around the corner.
And Knock has his axe in front of him, and he is just full. I wouldn't say sprint, but he's in like a good heft, a good jog, if you would, heading towards that direction.
Okay.
Do I catch that formation of Wisp and Chorus?
Are you guys doing anything and looking to see what's going on first? Or are you waiting for?
I don't know, where would Wisp be by this?
I would be probably about maybe 10 feet in front of you. And I am going to take out my staff. I'm going to hold it kind of with a two-hand, like defensive almost stance. Actually, I will spend a key point to do patient defense as I approach whatever is in front of me. I'm going to try to look to see if I can see Aiden or where that flash came from. I'm looking for any sort of movement.
And
You see shadows for sure.
In what direction?
Coming to your left, like I said, where kind of the alleyway ends.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll do patient defense. So I'm gonna kind of like get ready, and I would like to peek around the corner. If like, is it just the end of an alley, or is there that corner?
So it's like the end of an alley, and then it kind of makes like an L shape.
Yeah, I want
Into
to peek
the
around that
alley.
L shape.
Okay. Are you trying to be sneaky?
At the moment, I would probably say no because I have the drift globe behind me and I need to see.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So what you see as essentially this light kind of erupts, casting shadows, and you see the frazzled hair of the hellhound, like that it's risen, kind of creating this extremely menacing look. And you turn the corner as it goes dark again, and through your dark vision, you see what you assume is Aiden as a hellhound. It looks like he's eating something, and is just tearing it to pieces.
I look back very quickly towards Marcoris, and I'm not trying to be super low, but I want him to still hear me and just say, I think Aiden's eating something. And I'm gonna move around the corner with the drift globe towards Aiden.
Okay.
Aiden, did you
buddy?
find something?
Yeah,
And I'm
so-
gonna push the drift globe past me, so it's in between me and Aiden now. And I want to be at least 10 feet away from him, 10,
Okay.
15 feet.
So what you see is he's kind of been chewing on this thing, and he starts whining. And that's when you start to see these large, like scrape marks, and you can see blood, like they're fresh, and they were like dripping down his, like the front of his, like down his fur. And you get a good look at the thing he's been eating, and it's a crow. It's whatever remains. You can see black feathers kind of sprawled against the snow, and like I said, he's got these scrape marks around his snout and his eyes, and he's bleeding pretty profusely. And then when he starts, like I said, he's whining, and then you call his name, and he doesn't react to it.
And I sort of like Clap my hands.
Okay. As you clap and like the light comes up, he looks up at you guys and snarls. And you see his large yellow teeth fully bared as he starts like taking a step towards you.
Hey. I didn't hear your person. Everything's okay. You know us. You know us. And I'm gonna like get down into like a crouching position. I don't want to kneel, but I want to get down to like his eye line.
Mhm.
And I want to try and like directly look into his eyes. Do they look different than I remember them?
They're extremely dilated. You're not
And
sure
that's
if it's
not normal.
You're not sure if it's the light. There was some like his eyes are like normally been pretty normal, I'd say, but like at this point you see they're red. Like they're dilated
extremely
and they're
dilated and they're red? Okay.
Mhm.
I say that kind of like I'm still looking at him, but I'm turning towards Marcos. His eyes. Something wrong with his eyes.
Yeah, I think that. I don't know. I feel like maybe we're losing Aiden. Like he's becoming more hound than
I
drow.
think so. I think he's spent too much time. What do we do?
Have I turned the corner, DM?
Nothing if we can't.
Yeah,
get
I'd
one
say about
down.
this time you turn the corner and you see Aiden like I don't know, lurking, prowling.
Hackles up.
Yeah, like his fur is like up, like
Yeah.
His ears are back, and he's
I have-
slowly like getting closer and closer to Wisp.
I have turned that corner, like as I run and I see like the fire below. I see some of the smoke and embers. Like Nox sees it, he slams on the brakes, slides a little bit, turns, makes eye like sees Makoros's back, sees Wisp crouching down, and sees the teeth bearing of the dog, and immediately runs forward towards the animal with axe in hand. So he's in full sprint.
Okay.
Just full sprint towards the creature and goes,
What the hell is it?
the only thing he says is he's approaching, which I'm guessing is probably like 20 feet distance.
Yeah. So what you see is when you kind of make that like aggressive move, he growls and barks, and you see like the smoke kind of erupt from his mouth as he barks. As he closes his mouth, it's like. Poof.
Hot. I'm gonna play this like this is a role play, you know, like no meta or anything. I'm gonna fucking charge this dog. I'm gonna run right past the entirety of the group, and I'm gonna use my feet charger, and I'm going to hit this dog with everything I can. Just because if it's growling its teeth at him, I know what eye looks like. I do have dark vision with the dwarven belt that's on, but the hysteria of that, they're gonna Makor, I mean Mr. Dag, I'm a Dag, but little imp bird. He has gone ahead and said,
Jiraxius.
Jiraxius, there is a problem here. So I am turning and sprinting directly at it using my feet charger, and I'm going to try to attack said dog.
Okay. I need you guys to roll initiative.
Let's get in it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Love it.
Alrighty. I don't have a map for this,
Betty Boy
but
situation. I'm like,
Oh,
We can
got an 8.
theater of the
theater
mind.
this within our
The
mind.
mind.
brilliant.
Oh
When
my
I
gosh!
ran
I rolled
kids'
two
games-
20s,
Oh, really?
so I get 21
Yeah, give one to Wisp, please.
21 points.
double crit.
I rolled a
When I
4.
ran children's games and they would get into impromptu combat, my favorite thing was literally just like taking out the Microsoft Paint and doing like really quick sketches of the
Yeah.
map and being like, this is
I can-
approximately what it is.
I can do that. I could probably try to do something like that.
That's
Oh no,
really
it's fine. I
awesome.
love theater of the mind too.
Ray, you did that for children, so like a local library type of deal.
Yeah, I did during COVID last year. I did it at a local game store. They wanted DMs to do over Zoom, so I was DMing groups of like 12-year-old boys for like weeks, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, I did that once at a local library. They were trying to introduce D&D to a younger crowd. And it was so much fun.
It's so much
Introduce
fun.
people to a whole huge
Yep,
world.
I've done that too. It's great playing D&D with kids because they have no, like, they don't bring any knowledge with them about, oh, this must be a manticore. You know what I mean? Like they just like everything is brand new and yeah.
Hey, I had kids like making. I think. Are you trying to draw a map
Yep.
right now?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll continue my little story, I guess. They liked to make things up. So like they had like a horse that was like the Gumby horse technically, but anytime it talked in Comic Sans. They called it the comical Sandy horse. I don't know why. That's what they called it. Like these kids would make things up. And I would make up side quests because like we had a story that like the game store like had a homebrew world. These kids filled the homebrew world and then their characters left Longing Legacies. So every time they changed to another campaign, they still had lasting effects that were lingering. So it was super cool. But yeah, there were a lot of like weird animal characters.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm almost done. You should be able to. You can probably pull yourself onto the map if you need
Yeah.
to. I'm gonna make him bigger because he's scarier.
Our tokens?
They should be on your character sheet. You should be able to.
Okay.
Duh.
I forget how Roll20 works all the time.
That's not what I want. Hell yeah, there we go. I can drag it on if you need to. This is
I don't know
the
why
epic
mine's
music
not working.
I asked for.
What can I not? Find my...
There you are.
done.
Controlled by all. Do you need yours, Derek?
Yeah, I am.
There it is.
There it is. Hello. It's me.
Cool.
So go ahead and move your characters.
Probably be here. I would probably be here talking to the dog. Actually, I'll probably be back. Yeah, I'll be back. 'Cause I'm 5'10". Yeah, that's about 15 feet. Cool.
I figured that, I came in behind you guys, skirted up here, and then...
And it went around, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So first up is Marcoris.
Sweet. What would Marcoris do in a situation like this? Marcoris has his rod. Yes, hilarious. And he is going to yeah, he's just going to fire off a couple Eldritch Blasts at Aiden.
Okay.
And he's not trying to kill him, he's just trying to knock him down to size here.
Okay. And I will say, like, if you choose, you can make attacks non-lethal if you don't want to kill him.
Sure. Please assume going forward that these are all non-lethal.
Non-lethal Eldritch Blast. Okay.
Until I tell you otherwise.
Cool.
That is a 17 on the first one.
That will hit.
For 8 force damage.
Okay.
And then he's going to fire off his second one because he gets to do 2. A 16 on the second one.
16 also hits.
For just 1. So 9 to
1.
It's just going to be like, I'm down. And just bam.
Okay. Perfect. Is that your turn?
With the fingernails. Yep.
All right, Wisp.
All right, so I have my staff out. It's on the ground right in front of me. I'm gonna pick it up with 2 hands, and I'm going to stay kind of low. I'm crouched. I want to stay crouched, and I kind of want to like, almost kind of like a sweep kick, but I want to sweep and just kind of like try to knock him in the temple with my staff.
Okay, so yeah, you'd need to run a little bit closer to him.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna move, but I'm skirting on my feet in a crouched position. I want to be close with him, and I want to kind of crack it upwards towards his temple.
Okay, so I'd say you need to be like 1 square closer to get to him.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, there you
go. Actions. So got my staff. This is all non-lethal.
Okay.
Does a 13 hit?
13 misses.
13 will miss. Okay, I will try one more time. So first one kind of whiffs over his head. I'm gonna come back around with the second one and try to clock him on the other side of the head.
Okay.
I have to do it offhanded, so I'm gonna let go and kind of like punch him. We're gonna punch him upside the head because it has to be an unarmed strike.
Perfect.
Does a 24 hit?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so I would like to do stunning strike.
Okay.
So I'll spend that key point to do stunning strike. He needs to be a Constitution saving throw of 12.
Okay.
He also takes 6 bludgeoning damage.
6 immediate. It was
Non-lethal.
Constitution, you said?
Yes.
He rolled an 11, so he fails.
Okay, so he is stunned until the end of my next turn.
Okay.
And yes, he takes 6 bludgeoning damage, and then I'm going to... I'll stay there. I'll stay within his range.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you hit him with that stunning strike, and he yelps. You hear like the yelp and the whine of like the hellhound as he gets hit, and he kind of just like sits there and is like shaking his head.
As like just like a flare after I stun him, and I feel that connection, and I feel his body kind of like go rigid. I'm gonna look at him since I'm still crouched in front of his face and say, "Remember who you are."
Okay. Make an animal handling check.
Ooh, okay. Gladly. Shit, I don't even... That's a +1. It's a 6 altogether.
Okay.
I feel like you're about to have a Moana moment with this dog real quick.
I was trying.
Moana. Knock, it is your turn.
I have moved the 10 feet needed for the charger momentum, so I'm going to take my axe, and as I take that last step forward and kind of stop myself and bring the axe all the way back, I do look, and I do. Can I roll to see if I recognize him at all?
Sure. Yeah. I would say that would be insight.
14.
You do catch a... Yeah, I would say you recognize him. You can clearly tell something's wrong, but it is Aiden, or at least the only hellhound that you've seen in the last few days.
Well, the only thing is that coming in at him, it would have been a lethal strike if I didn't recognize him, or if not an evil. So as I bring my axe back and I go to hit him, I turn the axe flat.
Okay.
So it hits him flat, send him hopefully jettisoning into the left side of the alleyway that we're at right now.
Okay.
And then swing on him. Let's get him, chat. Give me strength, chat. Give me strength. Like,
19 hits.
sweet deal. That would be 6 for, I mean, technically bludgeoning damage, and then add +5 damage for charger.
Oh shit. Okay.
Sweet deal.
All right. Yeah, he's not looking good. He's kind of limping a little bit in his stunned state. You can see him like kind of just like dragging one of his paws. Marcoris, it is your turn again.
Sweet. Wait, did he have a turn? Is he gone?
He's stunned.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Good. Marcoris is going to wind up again, and this time he is going to cast Toll the Dead on him.
Okay.
He's gonna toll him. It's a yes. He has to make a wisdom save.
Okay. That's an 11.
He fails, so he takes 15 points of non-lethal necrotic damage. So since it's non-lethal, it's like necrotish damage.
What does that look like?
It looks like I would imagine, whenever I think of necrotic damage, I think of like the life essence of something being drained. So I would imagine that his hackles being up, his snarling, his posture, all of that is like, a little bit of that is like siphoned away. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like just less intense, like he's like, you know, some of the vibrance is just sort of like pulled off.
Yeah. Okay. He's definitely not looking good. He looks weak.
I'm gonna be like, Aiden, down, we're your friends. Stop it.
Give me an animal handling check.
I mean, I have a -1 to animal handling. I don't give a shit. That's 3.
Even in his like state, you can see him like kind of starting. I guess he's stunned, but you can kind of see him like recoil a bit.
Yep.
He's
Good
trying to get
boy.
away from you guys.
Good boy.
But he's still growling and snarling at you.
Yeah.
That's
the end of my turn.
Okay, Wisp.
All right, so I'm gonna continue to. I'm going to flip my staff and put it on my back, and I'm gonna go over to him, and I want to grab him if I'm able to. I want to try to grab him by like the backs of the ears, like the scruff. Like I want to grab him, and I want to look at him, and I want in his weakened state. Once again, I want to look him in the eyes and kind of like shake him, and just say, "Remember who you are." And I want to. I don't know what I'll have to do if that's going to be an action, but I want to spend my turn trying to talk to him, connect with him.
Okay. So I think you can probably, if you wanted to grapple him,
Sure.
you could, because he
Yeah.
would fail, because he's stunned still.
Because he's still stunned.
So you can grapple him so he can't move.
All right, so then I want to get, I'm literally still crouched at him. I want to literally get up into him. I want to grab him at like both of like the backs of his like ears, that little scruff. And I want to put my forehead to his, literally put my forehead to his and stare into his eyes.
Okay.
And I want to tell him, remember who you are. You know who you are.
Give me another animal handling check. As you are trying to get through the animalistic side of his brain, that seemingly has overtaken him.
It's another 6.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that'll be my turn.
Okay.
I'm still gonna hold on to him. I'm not letting go.
Okay. So, as you guys are like trying to get him to like understand, you're trying to get through to him. There's a moment like he recoils as you guys have been pelting him and hitting him, and he kind of recoils, and you put his forehead to yours, and there's a moment where he looks up in your eyes. It looks like there's a moment where his eyes the red kind of goes away, and then you can see him blink and kind of like almost in that human way, furrow his brow, and then he opens them, and there's like even more red, and he opens his mouth and unleashes a fire breath. I need Knock and Wisp to make dexterity saving throws. I don't think he can reach Marcoris technically there.
Can I choose to willingly fail?
Sure.
I got a 23. I'd like to fail that.
Okay.
Take a hand me down.
You take 24 points of fire damage, Wisp, while Knock, you take 12 from the brunt of this. As he uses that, you're still holding on to him, and so you just take the full brunt of this fire breath.
And through it, for the first time, you all hear Wisp scream. She screams. But she's still holding on to him.
Okay. Knock, it's your turn.
This guy's fucking dead. Anyway, I'm gonna go into a rage. I get hit by this fire. Knock gets hit by it. He turns as he just grunts it away. He hears the scream. So as he's in mid-turn, you look to see that Knock's eyes are just enormous. His teeth are baring, similar to the dog. Enters into a rage, and he is going to take the axe and run right back at the dog. And this time, he's not going to be non-lethal. He's going to hit this thing with as much force as he can.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack.
17.
That hits.
Find myself with rage for a second. That's a +2 to melee strength with that. Okay. Yeah, and that would be an 8 plus the 2, so 10.
So, Wisp, as you are sitting there screaming, taking the brunt of this fire, all of a sudden it stops as there is as Aiden is growling at you, and it is cut off abruptly as you hear and you look up and you see the hellhound's mouth agape kind of at one side, and you see a giant axe embedded into its neck and its shoulder blade. And it goes limp and crumples into the snow.
Would you let me cast Spare the Dying here?
It would be your turn next.
think Marcoris rushes forward and just sort of puts a hand over the wound, and you all see this like dark but glowing energy as it sort of like goes over the wound, and it knits closed, and he's in 0 hit points and is unconscious but stable.
Okay.
Knock at this time. I guess that I have to take out my axe for all this to occur, because obviously, if you're healing him, right? So Knock, after swinging, like, he lets out a mighty roar, and he after embedding it inside of him, and he's breathing. His teeth are bared, and then he starts to realize kind of what is going on. He pulls the axe out and takes 2 steps back to watch Marcoris go ahead and do the spell.
Yeah. As Marcoris casts the spell, you kind of hear this kind of noise as he lets out a breath.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of see like his paw twitch a little bit, and he's bleeding, obviously very much so from the wound. You can see this giant gash in his shoulder blade and his neck where Nock's great axe was not just a moment before. He's stable, but he is like bleeding. I don't know if the Spare the Dying actually staunches any bleeding or anything like that, but
I mean, it becomes stable, and
okay.
Yeah.
So I would say it probably does. Like, it's still like this nasty wound. It doesn't
Wisp
look
immediately
good,
starts taking out bandages from her satchel, and through this, Marcoris is close enough and probably down close to where she is. You see that she's crying silently. She does not make a sniffle. She does not make a sound, but she's profusely crying, and she's not looking at anybody or anything else. She's just staring at the wound, and she's wrapping it, and she's wrapping it, and lowly, I don't know if anybody else speaks it, but in Undercommon, she's speaking, and she's like, she's in a way. No one has seen her this physically frantic, but she's wrapping his neck, and she's talking to him, and like occasionally she like cups his face in her hands and just like pets it, and like tries to open his eyes to see if his eyes have changed color, but she's trying to do everything she can just to stop the bleeding.
You do notice as you kind of check his eyes that they have reverted back to a yellowish sort of state, normal as they were. They're still dilated, but they're not that pupilless, like red color that they were.
As soon as I notice that, I take out one of the healing potions, just a normal healing potion, and I uncork it and I pour it down his throat.
Okay. You hear as you give him the health potion, you hear him cough or retch, like if you've ever heard a dog. Yeah, it sounds like that. And
does everybody want to make
everybody do your dog retching noises? No,
Correct.
Gotcha.
Please follow and subscribe.
My immersion. Just kidding. And he kind of lifts his head up gently. And kind of looks around. And you can see he starts to whine a little bit. And he kind of sits up. And he kind of pushes away from you and goes back towards the alley. And kind of, he puts his head up against the wall, like as he's sitting there, and he kind of just like is repeatedly kind of like butting his head up against the wall.
I crawl over and see if there's anything on the wall. I start touching the wall. I start looking at it.
There's blood from
Can I
him.
do can I do an insight check here to figure out like if this is just him being remorseful or
Sure.
uh, 21.
21, as you're looking, and maybe you come close to him, and Wisp, you come close to him as well and kind of turn his head. Unbecoming of a hellhound or a dog, I'd say, but not of a human. You see tears, and they evaporate into steam as he is a hellhound and has a heart of fire.
1,000,000 degrees.
Mm-hmm. And he kind of turns away again.
Hey, can you tell us what happened? Just lose yourself for a moment or what?
You see him start scratching at his body again. And you can, as you realize again, as these scrapes, these bloody like gashes,
Yeah.
you now realize are from him.
Knock, he hasn't moved back from where he took a step back, watching Iden walk past him, axe still in hand. He ties it to his back again. Actually, no, he doesn't. He still has his axe in hand. And he looks over to Iden, observing his scratch marks and everything else in between. And Nock walks over to be in front of his face. And he crouches down and looks him in the eye.
You're trapped in there, aren't you?
There's a little bit of a very slow, very human nod. Let me see.
He looks down and looks back up at him.
Is this because you're too far from home?
He tries to say something, tries to talk, but it just comes out as that kind of husky.
Yeah, I think his condition is progressing now.
We gotta get either the lure weed or find someone to change him back.
What if and he sort of like drops his voice to a whisper and says, what if he loses himself again?
Wisp will turn towards Iden and grab him by the face again, gently, and move it towards hers and put her forehead on his again. And he knows who he is. We'll figure it out.
You all right?
Nock
Let's
looks-
hurry then, yeah?
Nock stops though and looks at the burns and the fire marks, was left on the Wisp. He shakes his head.
Do you really think that is the best route? I understand that none of us are the same. Is the lure weed even going to help him? We know that it will help us, but we don't know if it's going to change him back from where he was.
Well, maybe
Does
this.
it again.
If he does it again, we'll figure it out. Maybe this Lady Laura will have some sort of cure for him. If the weed does not work, I don't know, but we can't leave him.
No, he'd be dead out here on his own.
We're all he has left. If we leave him, we've already forsaken Darla. We can't do that to him too.
Nock looks down after hearing the name of Darla. And nods very slowly.
Fine. But the dog stays nowhere near you. out again.
She looks down and lets him go and shakes her head.
He, as you let him go, he doesn't move.
I make eye contact with him, and through the nuance of just the moment, I give him a look that says, "You're not abandoned. Don't worry." And I'll stand up and I'll move to start kind of like assessing myself in the burns to make sure that I'm not on fire, make sure that everything's okay, and I'll take my wrap and kind of wrap it around the parts that are exposed and burned.
Let's go get back home, by which I mean that shitty little house, and get some rest, and we'll leave first light. All right?
Yeah.
Does he move DM after? Like, if I'm actually going to wait behind the Hellhound, behind our friend, and wait for him to move.
Our hell friend.
Wisp, are you moving like back towards?
I'll move. Yeah, I start walking away. I think I might be the first person who walks away. When I
Okay.
stand up and assess myself, I just immediately start moving in that direction.
I'd be second.
Slowly.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So what Aiden does is he moves forward to stay next and close to Wisp, and what he does, if allowed, as some dogs do when they're walking next to you, they butt their hand up under your hand, and he walks side by side with Wisp.
And if the others allow that to happen, she'll extend a hand and keep it close so that she can, reassure him. And before they go in the house, as they kind of turn that corner, she won't like whisper it or anything, but she'll say it low in her normal voice, but she'll kind of just look at him and say, I don't blame you. I'm not mad. And she'll just walk into the house.
Okay. He sits there for a moment as the rest of you go into the house, just trying to decide, see if you guys allow him in.
Nock does not go into the house yet. He will be the last one in. As
Okay.
everyone starts walking in, he does reach down and grab Aiden's tail
Oh, okay.
and walks up next to him and crouches down.
We are all in a very, very weird predicament with my ailment, Wisp, and now yours. I do care for you to be walking on 2 feet again, but I'm going to make this very clear to you. You dare open up that mouth of fire again, I'm going to wear you on my belt. Nod if you understand.
He nods.
He then gets up and kind of pats the dog's butt to get inside.
Okay.
Pat him.
Yeah, get the fuck in there.
Get in there.
When we get back inside, you see now that Wisp has her vision back, she's pulled out the bag of holding and Roderick's satchel, and she's taking things out of it. She's organizing things on the ground in front of her in very precise, they're not neat piles, but they're specific piles. And in front of her specifically, she's going to pull a spell scroll, a spell book, and that small box that was in Roderick's satchel. And as everyone files inside, She tosses a spell scroll at Marcoris.
What's this? Whoa, hey.
Now that I can see, I realized and remembered we have a lot of things in this bag that need to be divvied out fairly. I think you'll have the most success with this.
All right.
It's a spell scroll of Magnify Gravity.
Hell. What is that?
Wait.
I'm not sure, but as you're like divvying stuff out, you hear a muffled voice.
And I'm still here too.
As you still have that orb.
That's right. I forgot that the orb talks to us because I have Halifax's globe, and then there's an asterisk next to it, and I forgot what the asterisk meant. It means that it can talk to us. All right. She holds the globe and just kind of like holds it up in the air if anybody wants to grab it, but she's still like doing stuff on the ground.
Nox swipes the orb.
Sure.
Oh, hello, Goliath. Yeah, good day to you, man.
It's getting a little stuffy in there. I'm glad you brought me out so I could breathe. Just kidding. I don't need to breathe. I'm a fucking orb or whatever.
That you are.
All right, so I'm taking the spell scroll off my inventory if you want to add it to yours.
Yes, I will.
Straight up deleting that.
Ooh, I've never heard. That's a.
And then I look at the spell book too. There's something called an enduring spell book that I pull out as well, and I look at it and I also offer it to Marcoris.
I don't know what this is, but I know the paper is special. I have no use for it, so maybe.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't know if I do neither, but like, could be valuable.
Keep it in the bag.
Sure, I'll carry it if you need me to.
We'll keep it.
Yeah,
in
tell
the
me back
bag.
in the bag. I mean, I don't use books. Most of my abilities are handed down through the head office.
I see. Well then, the only thing left to check on is this.
And I hold up the small box that was in Roderick's satchel. What does it look like?
As you look at it, it is small, of a very orangish type of wood. The lid is a lighter, more, I can't think of the right word, a lighter wood, and it got like a floral engraving on it, and then there's like 4 little wood round pedestals that it can sit on. And you see sticking out the side is a little piece of metal.
Does it look like it's supposed to stick out of the side, or does it?
Yeah.
Okay, then she'll kind of like fiddle with that metal piece to see if it opens, if it pushes in, whatever.
You begin to twist it, and it doesn't do anything. But the top, this lighter piece looks like a lid, as you see metal hinges.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll just open it. I'll like try to open the box top-wise if I see the hinges, and see if I can.
It's a music box.
Oh.
Play it.
And,
I will. Yeah, I start to now knowing what it is. I'll turn that metal piece.
And you see the little contraption, the little gears and whatnot, and it's the big. It's like there's a cylindrical piece in there that rotates, and there's different.
Yeah, and
the
you can
different
see
knobs, and you can see it playing the different
Okay, cool.
parts and
cool.
whatnot. Let me check something real quick.
While you check that thing real quick, Nock is going to take this the little orb man, and he's gonna look at him, and he's gonna say,
You are going to make yourself very useful on my hip.
and he goes ahead and takes one of the leather strips that are hanging from his championship belt, and he's gonna go ahead and wrap him up real quick and pull him tight. And he's gonna go ahead and keep him on his side. I want to imagine him like God of War.
Mirror.
Yeah, I want him like a little mirror. I want him to be extremely fucking useful on all lore things and all things friendly to the city of Vedranis. If he doesn't fucking chime in, I'm breaking the fucking orb. And I'm gonna tell him that too.
Okay.
Well, and if you look to your left, there's the old Shark Asylum. There's a bunch of Kairos who spend all their time there. They're a little bit of pricks sometimes, but they're okay.
Yeah.
Question:
I
can
got
we all hear this while he's talking, or is it only directed
absolutely.
at?
No, you can all hear it. It is yeah, vocalized.
I turn towards our big friend.
You are responsible for keeping him in check now.
With pleasure.
And with that, I will delete it from my inventory, and now it is your problem officially.
I'm gonna shake him like a rat if he fucking starts talking so much. Look at there, there's a cobblestone I used to walk on.
If we come into contact with anybody that we can maybe peddle some things to, we have a lot of art worth a lot of money in here. 500 gold to be exact.
We'll keep our eyes open for an art dealer, I guess.
I mean, anybody willing to take it. It doesn't even have to be special.
I think number one is we need to get some sleep.
Yes.
Get up early, find a church, have a funeral. Tomorrow's not gonna be much more fun than today. I'm sorry.
No.
Then make our way to get that lure with y'all.
Knock nods with assurance that is exactly what we need to do, and from the words to which he said.
The music box that is playing in the background as we are talking, do I know the song? Does it sound familiar?
Is it Waterfalls by TLC?
Yeah, is it fucking Wonderwall by Oasis?
Is it Wonderwall?
What is that?
It's actually a lullaby version of Indie Club by 50 Cent.
Hell yeah!
Thank you. This is now Wisp's treasure possession. Nobody ever got to touch it. Yeah, no. Does it?
Well, it's
Yeah,
not
is it a tune that,
technically
that
magic.
sounds?
It is pretty magical.
So for everybody who hears it, the interesting thing about it is you hear a tune or a lullaby that all of you know, but it's maybe unknowing to each of you. It is different to each of you who hears it.
In some sort of way.
In some
Cool.
sort of way. It brings
Cool.
you a sense of calm, nostalgia, and peace.
Got me
after
crying
you-
all up in the club today.
As you have to listen to it for an hour.
Okay.
As you guys listen to it for an hour, you gain some benefits. You are immune to being frightened for 24 hours. Essentially, if like the calm emotion spell was cast on you, you have, unknowingly to you, but as players, I will write this up for you as well. You have advantage on wisdom saving throws. And you also increase your hit point maximum by 1d10 and get temporary hit points, equal to 1d10 plus your character level.
Oh shit! Cool.
So I will write this up and I will add it to your character sheet.
Sweet.
Awesome. I also wrote it down. So
I think as we're all like settling in and like listening to the music as we're getting ready to sleep, I like that a lot. You know, it just sort of like we're all just sort of sitting there, and the only sound is the music. Marcoris looks over at Aiden just to see if like the calm of it is affecting him as well, and
It seems to. He's quickly kind of curled up at the hearth. That's, I don't know if you guys have lit anything in it, but he's kind of curled up. There's a small like battered rug. That he's kind of curled up on and is just kind of giving everybody some space.
happy emotions.
I'll grab some stuff from outside around that just looks like we can burn it, keep ourselves warm. And I'll crank the music box again just to give everybody some
crank it.
ambiance. And yeah, indie club. And I'll tap Aiden on the shoulder and then point to the hearth to see if he will light it for us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he kind of looks, and you can kind of see him, like, he kind of, like, his tail wags a little bit, kind of pants, like, as if he's excited, and then, yeah, it goes, and lights the hearth.
And for the first time in a while, I take off my head wrapping. I let down my dreads. I take out my writing utensils, but I only take out one color. I only take out orange, which is my common color, because purple is my primordial color. Retcon. And I will write for just a few moments before bed, only in my purple or my orange common handwriting. And then I pass the fuck out.
Okay.
Our course is asleep.
Yeah,
Of course,
I'm going to be going to the room where Vonder's in and finishing my little dead man backpack with the rest of the any material that I can. Literally, it's just like wrapping him 3 times on the bed frame, and then a backpack apparatus for me to put my arms through so that I can hold him.
Oh my gosh, you know what it is? If you play that, what's the game? Shoot, it's a video game where you have to carry things and you're a delivery man. It's got the guy.
Oh, Death Stranding?
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're Norman Reedus now, brother.
It's the first game. It's the first mission.
Glorified
Very, like,
USPS, yeah, a
body on
dead
your back
body.
and everything. Yeah. And so, I think if everybody else is like settling in as the camera pulls out from the house with like a little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney, Jerry is seated on the eaves of the house, just keeping watch for the night and just making sure nothing happens to them.
Okay. And yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just knock after he finishes that and comes back out into the room, if depending on if everyone's asleep or Wisp is still writing. He does walk up to Wisp and
says to her, "Are you all right? You hurt?"
I'll be fine. Nothing. Some sleep and some time won't fix. I'm sorry for screaming. And you see her like look down, like embarrassed.
Knock crouches down. You feel his, his knees do snap because he was running a lot, so it's like a big pop. It's like, you're like, oh, shit. So as I get down to you,
You do not have to apologize for screaming. If anything, it shows that you are alive. And you are a warrior, the same as Nook.
She looks up when you say that and kind of like assesses you physically, like looks at you and just kind of like, you can see the gears working in her mind, trying to put that statement into truth. Like it's hard for her to comprehend, but she looks at you in your eyes and she nods.
yeah, there's a lot of compassion in Nock's face as well as just like understanding. But there's also you see it. It's almost like if it was a bodyguard protecting a family lineage that had been bought, for years. But there's almost a latent pain or fear behind it as well. And he says to you,
I will not lose anyone else that I came here with. Not today. Not in a while. Rest up. We will need it.
and he stands back up. The other knee snaps, and he goes and lays down, but lays down near the Hellhound.
Okay. He kind of looks up as you sit down. He's kind of curled up into a ball and kind of lifts his head and looks at you.
Nock lays his head down, making eye contact with him, and then slowly shuts his eyes to go to sleep.
Okay. And we kind of zoom out of the home. There's a little bit of smoke rising from the small chimney as we see the lights kind of dim in the home. we see a empty pathway. It's dark. There's snow falling. And kind of what we see, if there's like a camera view, is the view from on the ground. And all of a sudden there's a boot that falls in front of the camera, and you can hear the crunching of snow. When we see a figure walk past, looking around, keeping their assessment on their surroundings. You see they've got a hood up. Beneath the hood, we can see kind of escaping from the outside of the hood, we see locks of purple hair. And on the back, we see a large firearm slung on the shoulder of this figure. And we see them continue to walk for some time until they stop at a large 3-story building. It's got several domed shapes of its roof. And engraved into the door, we see a symbol. We kind of zoom in on the figure's face. It's covered by a scarf. And then we see them pull it down. And we see the face of Kimura. She breathes, and you can see the air escape her breath. She takes a deep breath and pushes her way and opens this large stone door. And as the door closes, we see in full clarity the symbol of the Onyx Legion from this building that's been in disrepair. And the door closes. The scene fades, and we see another scene. We see a heavily wooded area. We hear the creaking of what would be rope. We hear the sounds of life, insects, and frogs. We kind of crawl through this space as we see these woodland, wetland trees, this hauntingly beautiful flora and fauna. We see a little white rabbit hopping around in a small glade. We see a deer or a stag, but from their head, their fur from the neck down is normal, but all we see on their head is their skull. We see vines hanging from this bluish bioluminescent looking area that the air fills. And that creaking we heard was a vine. Many vines, as we see crows that have gotten tangled in these vines and are hanging. And the last thing we see is a figure leaning up, laying against a large tree. And what we end up seeing is a Kyrogen. Clearly long since passed, as their mask has been cracked and is broken in half. And you can just see the corner of their face. And it's wreathed in pain and agony in their seemingly final moments. as we can see the decomposition of their body, but we see these green lines going through where their veins would be that are kind of matted into their face. And that is the last thing we see as we end the session for tonight.
Okay. Whoa. Not gonna lie, you brought me to a place. Oh
I got the
God.
scene from I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but it's the movie where they walk Shimmer, where you walk into the Shimmer and like those bodies are like half like they're grown through with all this like natural like fauna, but the bodies is still intact. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh,
How dry they look good, and Jesus Christ! And then literally, as soon as the guy after Kimura, and as soon as you said camera zoom out, my brain went right into fucking theater mode. I was like, "Oh yeah, all right, we got a nice fucking pull out. Okay, oh, we're going for it. That was fucking fantastic.
that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a
good.
session! Ugh.
That was great.
Oh, goodness, that was fun. That was
a fucking friend. My God.
yeah, that was intense. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with Aiden there, so I'm really excited to see kind of how that changes and whatnot.
Every dog death I've ever had to deal with in life just was flashing back in my fucking face. I said I didn't kill my dogs with an axe. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Don't take that out of context.
Oh my God.
Watching you chat.
I'm watching you chat. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for the followers, the first time views. Thank you for the resubs on Shudder. Thank you, as always. Special thanks to everybody hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate you guys. We've got one more session for this month, which is next week, and then we'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving, and then we'll be back in December. So just so you guys are aware, that's kind of what's going on. Let's go around and see what you guys are going to be up to in the next week and whatnot. Tell us who you are, where we can find you, and all that fun stuff. Derek, let's start with you.
Hello everybody. My name is Derek from Atop Dark Mountain, where you can find me at any of those names and or on any platform that you would ever like to go ahead and consume my content. Other than that, what I will be doing for the rest of the week is I will be playing Battlefield 2040-93-1. It's going to be great. Looks so goddamn good. I'm so excited to go ahead and play that, but I'll also be jumping into Wild RP throughout the week, probably playing as my minor Zhang Wei as well as Wichuge the Elder Native, just because there might be some shit cooking in the wind. Much information travels on the great winds. So overall, if you want to catch any of that, come find me at Atop Dark Mountain.
Hell yes. Ray, where can we find you? What are you up to?
Oh, hey, I'm Ray. You can find me everywhere on the interwebs as With a Brick with 2 Ks. I'm streaming every so often whenever the spirit moves me. The great Benito calls for me to do something. I'm there. I'm also working on some homebrew stuff. I am doing charity stuff for a channel next month. Keep up to date with me if you want to know more, but it's Morkborg, and it's going to be real spooky and holiday themed. And no, we're not fighting a Yeti. No, we're not fighting evil Santa Claus. And no, we're not fighting Krampus. So if you're into any of those things and potentially want to see what spooky holiday thing I have going on, keep up to date with me. But besides that, I'm here every Thursday playing your monochromatic monk who might just have found of heart and maybe some more vocal cords. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's been great. I love it.
Not gonna lie, I imagine a chimera of Krampus and all the other
Of all the worst
Way to
holiday things,
spoil it.
you're fighting a giant fruitcake that I'm labeling as a gelatinous cube.
Excellent. Excellent.
But yeah, no, it should be great. It should be fun if you're into spooky holiday stuff. Should be happening within the next couple of weeks. So
Hell yeah,
stay
amazing.
tuned.
Justin, where can we find you? What are you up to?
Howdy, I'm Doc Rimbo. I'm Doc Rimbo on Twitter, and I'm Doc Rimbo here on Twitch. And like we mentioned at the top of the show, I've been streaming more, which is cool. I am on Wild RP probably more than I should be, playing my senior deputy, Jonah Harper, who is loving roads and living there and making a lot of good friends, but also got shot in the back the other day, and that's all happening. Anyway, and then also Princess Biscuits, who is dating a hooligan named Pip, and chaos will come from that. Come by and see me any old time. I do little bursts of streams here and there, and other than that, I'm just I love it here, and tonight was really fun. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, cast friendos.
Thank you, guys. Hell yeah. And I'm Cole or Lacuna RP. You can find me there at Lacuna RP on Twitter and Twitch. I'm not very active on either of those at the moment, but I'm usually the most active here, role playing with these wonderful people and DMing this very crazy campaign. Yeah, you can find me there if you so choose. We appreciate you guys. Stay tuned after the credits. We're going to be rating TTRPG Theater and our friends over there. So make sure to give them some love, follow if you're not, give them some Infinite RP hearts if you're subbed, and we will
doing really cool Warhammer stuff. So
Oh,
if you're into
sweet.
Warhammer 40K, that's what they're doing.
I love 40K. Gimme. But we will see you guys next week. We'll see what the heck happens here. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.